Dear guest, good afternoon. Please introduce yourself during 1 minute.
Hear me? There we go. I'm James Tufenkian. I was born in the United States, grew up in Oregon, went to school in New York, and I'm a little bit different kind of Armenian than many of you. If I ask most of you, how did you become Armenian, you'd say this is a stupid question because I was just born and there I was Armenian. I was a different story. I mean, when I grew up, I really didn't know anything about being Armenian. My name wasn't Armenian. I lived in America. There was nothing Armenian about me except my blood. Then one day I found out about the genocide. And when I heard about the genocide, it really crystallized my vision of myself as an Armenian. And out of that, I came to New York, I became part of Armenian community, and eventually decided I needed to come and live and work in Armenia. So that's me.
Thank you very much. Now please go there. The duration of the meeting is 60 minutes. Photo and video is being shot in the hall. The shoot materials can be posted in the internet. Photo and video shooting is strictly prohibited during the meeting. Dear guests, you have to introduce... Dear guests, you have the right to refuse answering the question for 3 times. Dear audience, you have to ask interesting for everyone, briefly formulated and concerned questions. Grade the level of sincerity of the guest at the end of the meeting. As a moderator of the meeting, I must follow the duration of the meeting and the consideration of the rules. I have right to eliminate the non-ethical questions and require to rephrase them. Now, please, David Grigoryan, first question. You have right to give your first question.
Hi. I've heard somewhere that there's a habit in Russia that the millionaires don't tell anyone how they earned their first million. So can you please tell me how did you earn your first million?
What, by American tradition where we talk about it, or Russian tradition where we don't?
Well, I don't know.
I'll try and give you the short story. When I was in graduate school, I was studying to be a lawyer. And I didn't have money at that time, and I knew a little bit about carpets. And so I started buying and selling carpets to make some money to make my way through law school. Then when I got out of law school, I decided I didn't want to practice law right away. I wanted to enjoy myself a little bit, travel around the world, so I thought I'd start buying and selling rugs. And then I got this idea to create the first brand and the first modern company in the Oriental rug business. And I thought if I did it and I did it well, I could make a lot of money. And I did it, and it worked out very well from the beginning. So that was kind of the base of my money.
Thanks.
Hi. What is your greatest fear and what do you do to overcome it?
My greatest fear is being buried alive. But let's say beyond that, my greatest fear is that I'll live my life and not do anything significant. I was born in America, I had a great family, I had a great country to grow up in. God gave me a lot of gifts, and ever since I was young, I was afraid that I might grow through my life, die, and never use those gifts that were given to me in a good way. So what I do about it is, basically, my life in Armenia is partly what I do about it, trying to do something constructive to help make Armenia a great nation.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello?
I wanted to ask about your hotels in Armenia. Do they really bring you the profit you need, or it's just for our country?
Well, I'm not rich enough to do it just for the country. And also, I believe for a long time, since I came to Armenia, I mean, I came here first as a businessman trying to help the country by making businesses that would be good for the country. And it's no help to the country if you make a business that can't survive on its own. Then it's a charity and it doesn't have any life of its own. So on my business side and on my nonprofit side, I'm always trying to make business here which has a profit base for it. But because I'm doing it for Armenia, because this is a different environment, it doesn't necessarily make money immediately, but I'm patient and I'm willing to look at the long-range view and make my investments now knowing that they will grow into good profits.
Thank you.
Hello.
Is that working? Yeah, here. Hello. So my question is, which colors do you think describe your childhood the most? And what does each color symbolize?
You want to know my horoscope also?
That would be nice.
Which color? Okay, say it again. Which colors describe my childhood?
And what do each color describe, symbolize?
Wow, I never thought about putting it into colors. I mean, I remember before I started school, life was kind of gray because I was very bored with my life. And once I started school and I started doing sports, everything was yellow like the sunshine. I was growing up in California at the time. And then when I became a teenager, I think it went back to gray in a lot of ways. But the gray was always surrounded by some bright colors because I was very excited about being young and having all my life ahead of me.
So what is your favorite color?
My favorite color? It's tough, you know, I'm a designer in my businesses, so I am influenced by the marketplace and what other people are buying. And I mean, when I was young, I loved red. I think still red family colors, red and orange, are like my favorites.
Thank you so much.
Nobody ever asked me that before.
And what did you feel when you first stepped your motherland and when it was?
Okay, I first came here in 1981, before independence, obviously, and I was with a group of students from Columbia University in New York. And a bunch of my friends were on the trip, and we were really, really excited to finally touch Armenia. I mean, we were laughing. We'd go hiking, and we'd see a snake, and we'd say, "It's an Armenian snake." It was just like everything was exciting for us. I mean, I remember that excitement, and I remember the love that we developed for the country because when we were on this trip, you know, we so fell in love with the country and the people. Just everything about it was so great to us, even though it was communist times. We were talking about, you know, just what if ever in a million years it would be possible that Armenia could be free? You know, what would we do if that ever happened, you know? And of course the answer was we'd go there and we'd fight for our country. And so miraculously it became free just 10 years later. And so out of that group, actually, not only me, but a lot of other people did come to Armenia and start to work.
Thank you.
Hello.
So when you're having a hard time, what encourages the most?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I like to say that every time I'm in Armenia, I mean, now I kind of live here, but that means I'm here maybe 6 weeks at a time. Every time I'm here, I have at least 1 or 2 days when I feel like everything I've done here for 20 years is just wasted and everything is pointless and my life is worthless and I just feel so terrible. And then something happens within the next 24 hours and I totally turn around and the rest of the trip I'm just excited and in love with being here. So when I'm down, I mean, I'm very Christian, and so I pray a lot. I mean, how I ended up in Armenia, a lot of it was a result of praying and really asking God where He wanted me to be and what He wanted me to do with my life. So that's where I turn to when I'm really down. But the other places that now, I mean, besides my employees, who I really love, my Armenian employees, I'm surrounded by a lot of other repatriates, Armenians from outside who have come here to live. And we're all kind of fighting for this country together. trying to make it a better country. And like, whenever I feel down, if I get together with any of them or they're feeling down and they get together with me, we pump each other up, you know, we get re-excited, re-energized, and we start to believe again that everything's possible.
Thank you.
My question is a philosophical one. I'm sure you have made many decisions in your life, so are there good and bad decisions, and if there are quickly made decisions better than the ones that were made slowly and carefully?
You wanted to know what some of the good and bad ones were too, or it's going to be a long answer. I'll try and make it short. I mean, the worst mistake of my life, as far as I can see. I mean, I don't know the whole plan for my life and how it's going to work out. But my business in New York, which is the reason why I don't live in Armenia full time, I had a chance to sell it for a lot of money in 1998. And I didn't take that chance. And because of it, I've been sort of like just living only half my life here all this time. And that's really frustrating, and I'm upset about it almost every month, at least a few days. Worst decision of my life. And I mean, best decision, okay, coming to Armenia, starting to work here, obviously, best decision of my life. Yeah, and you said a lot of thought? You said, did a lot of thought go into those decisions?
No, my question was that if there are good or bad decisions, and if there are good or bad decisions, are the decisions that were made quickly as good as the decisions that were made slowly and carefully?
I mean, I think both of those examples, you know, big decisions in my life, I think they were both pretty emotional. And I can't say that there was so much rational thought. I mean, when it came to not selling the business, I didn't sell it because my ego got too big and I wanted a lot more money. And I wasn't thinking about my life, I was just thinking about how great I could be if I got that much money for it. So that was a really bad decision, which didn't really involve good thinking or even good praying. The decision to come to Armenia was really emotional also. I mean, it happened when I first decided to start working here, it was in 1993, and I was just totally inspired by the Karabakh War and the sacrifices that Armenians were making fighting there. So this also was an emotional decision, but yeah. But you know, I mean, as you get older, you develop instincts. And you know, scientists say that like inside of your brain, a lot of thinking goes on that you're not even aware of. As you get more and more experience, you find that you make decisions based on just what your brain and your body already knows is right without thinking about it. And I think that's also why I don't think as much as I used to about stuff. I just jump in. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you have an idol? And if you do, who is it? If you don't, did you have one when you were our age?
Not just one in my life. I mean, when I was a kid, I had one. It's a funny thing. This guy in the American Revolution, there was a general named Daniel Morgan, and he was a great leader. And I read his biography when I was about 7 years old. And what I remembered about it is that part of why he was a great leader is that when he fought, he always went through everything that his men did personally with him. He didn't stay off in the front, off of the front lines, comfortably relaxing. He was always there side by side with them. And because of that, he was a really great leader, and the men followed him everywhere.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to be born in Armenia? And if you were born here, would you be able to accomplish as many things as you have done now?
Oh. Yeah, sometimes I think, you know, if I had been born in Armenia back in the time when I was born in America, what I would be now, when I look around at people in Armenia, which guy would be me? And it's just really hard to say because living in the Soviet Union was just such a powerful thing for shaping the character of people, well, just like living in America was. I just don't think I can even imagine what I would have been like. So, you know, in general, I'm really happy that I grew up where I did, and you know, I always considered that, you know, when I became Armenian, that I sort of owed something to my country, that my great-grandparents came from Western Armenia before the genocide, and we were spared all of that. We were spared Stalin, we were spared the Second World War, all of the stuff that your relatives went through, your ancestors. And because of that, you know, we were allowed to kind of grow up strong and free and be able then to use that strength and that freedom to come back here and do something. So I think I'm pretty happy that I was born outside. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. What do you value the most in a person?
You know, this is hard work. Did you ever know that? Did people tell you this before? This is hard work. What do I value most in a person? Sincerity, honesty, loyalty. Those are probably three biggest things. Yeah. And then I always surround myself with people who are really funny too, in one way or another, because that just helps everything be better.
Thanks.
Hello. What can you suggest us to do to become as a good and successful person as you are now?
Well, obviously you don't have to be the kind of successful person that I am. You can be your own kind of successful person. So that's the first thing I can say. I mean, I think really the biggest thing is to target that in your life. You know, when I was 14 years old, I sort of set the direction for my life. I decided that I was going to get a great education, then I was going to make a lot of money, and then I was going to try to use that money to make the world better. And that vision kind of guided me through my whole life. And I think if you have a vision of what kind of person you want to be and what kind of thing you do, you'll grow to fill it up. I mean, I think it's really the most important thing.
Thank you.
I'm here.
Yeah. Oh.
What subjects did you like in high school, and were there any other professions you kind of admired before choosing the profession of lawyer?
From high school or college?
High school.
Okay. Because high school I knew nothing about anything. I didn't know anything about the world. I didn't have any vision about anything. I mean, I think I decided once when I was in high school, I decided I wanted to be an actuary. And I don't know if you know what an actuary, they do statistical studies of how long people live and things like that. Totally stupid. So, I mean, I didn't know anything about anything until I got to college. And that's when I really sort of made my life and my direction. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more question about your hobbies. What do you like to do when you have free time?
Okay. Number one is hanging out with people and talking. I love doing it in Armenia because when we talk in Armenia, it's always about serious stuff and big and important stuff about the country and what we're doing and what somebody else is doing. And when I'm in America, it's usually silly stuff, you know? And that's okay for a couple days, but it's really boring to me. Then what else I do is exercise. I mean, I'm going to announce to you, it's a secret, and you'll never guess it in a million years, but I have been lifting weights since I was 16 years old. Can you see? Nobody can see, but I do, and that's my other hobby.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, hello, I'm here. My friend wrote down the question in Armenian and I'm going to translate it into English right now. So here it goes. I've often heard that you are a very effective manager, and once when my friend was in one of your hotels, he heard from the workers that you visit the hotels, and if you find some mistakes, you can just fire the workers from there. So, what's the point of your question? Is it easy to you to fire people from their work?
Is it easy for me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, two things. First of all, I mean, I really don't think that's correct, what that person was told by the staff. I mean, obviously, I own the hotels, so I could fire people. But the only way to manage a big organization is to give responsibility to the managers of the company and not try to do everything myself. So if they have a structure and they have relationships with their workers, if I jump in and suddenly say, I don't like you, you're out, and then the manager has to replace them and figure out what to do differently the next time, it doesn't work. The managers have to be responsible. So if I find some staff performing badly, I'm going to mention it to the manager. And if I find it more than once, then I'm going to need an explanation of why that person is still here. So, but as far as firing people, I mean, it's something you get used to. A lot of things in life, you get used to doing difficult things, you know, having difficult discussions with people. And I learned years ago that the only way to fire people is just to be really straight and honest with them and explain to them why they're being released and maybe even give them some suggestions about what to do better in their next job. Yeah. I think some people enjoy firing, but I don't. Yeah.
Would you like to learn Armenian, or will you?
I would really like to learn Armenian, yeah. I mean, that's probably my biggest regret about having been born in a family that didn't speak it and born and raised in America. I really want to learn Armenian, and believe me or don't believe me, the reason I haven't learned it all these years is not just because I'm completely stupid. It's really because I don't have time to study when I'm here. I'm just working too much. So every time I'm here, I learn 2 or 3 words, and if you ever heard me put them together into a sentence, you'd be laughing like crazy. But no, I really intend to learn Armenian because, I mean, the #1 problem is that not speaking the language means that I'm limited in who I can talk to in this country. I mean, sometimes I pass an old lady on the street who looks like she needs help with her bags or something, and I want to talk to her and just make her feel a little bit better, and I can't, you know, it's just, I'm cut off from so much of the people here, and the people are the great part of being in Armenia, so. Yeah, no, I want to go to the classes of the 6-year-old kids here and study together with them. That's what I'm waiting for.
So, hello. Did your parents keep the Armenian atmosphere in your family? Did they tell you about your motherland, about our nationality?
No, I knew nothing. Partly it's because my grandparents actually left Western Armenia before the genocide. And like I said before I came in, I didn't even know about the genocide until I was 20 years old. All I had heard about from some of the old relatives who had come from Armenia was about problems they had with the Kurds. They didn't even talk about the Turks, really. And that's because they were living in eastern Turkey, Western Armenia. The Turks were using the Kurds to do their dirty work with us. So what I knew about Armenians was Armenian food, because my mom cooked it all the time and she was great. And I knew my Armenian relatives, and I thought they were really funny, cool, interesting people. I just loved them so much. Yeah, that's what I knew about Armenia.
Thanks.
The rest I learned after I got here.
Hello.
Hello.
And what do you think about the future of Armenia?
Yeah, well, I had some questions to ask you guys too, but I'll say that, I mean, since I came here, I believe that Armenia is going to be a great country someday. And I also believe that whether it becomes a great country quickly or very slowly depends a lot on how fast the diaspora comes here and gets involved. And the rest of it depends on how fast the Armenian people take responsibility for their future. I mean, of course, what depresses me sometimes is when I see people people even who have money and education running away from the country instead of staying here and fighting to make it better. But I really do believe Armenia is going to be a great country. I mean, that's why I'm here. Don't believe I'm wasting my time. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hello. You said that your biggest regret was that you didn't know Armenian. What other things would you like to change in your life?
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
What other things
No, the first
would you
part.
like to... You said that your biggest regret was that you didn't know Armenian and you would like to change it. What other things would you like to change in your life?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is just, like I was saying, I mean, because of the hotel business, because of the carpet business in America, I still spend 95% of my time doing business stuff, even if some of it maybe is helping this country somehow. And I really wanted, at least 10 years ago, to stop doing business and just devote myself to doing nonprofit work and just trying to help people directly. And to see, you know, if I use my brain and my money and everything that I have, if I can really accomplish something good. And I can't get free to do that right now. So that's my biggest regret, my biggest problem.
Hi. Can you tell us about your best memories about Armenia?
No, it's not because I don't have any. I'm thinking, like, I have too many. Oy. I mean, it always involves people, that's for sure. And I mean, it's people here who just are really, really funny, like taxi drivers who are very funny, philosophical, crazy. I love the taxi drivers. I wish I could talk to them more. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's just, I have 10,000 things in my head. I can't think of anything in particular. Try.
So, what is the formula of your success?
You guys have to point which side the question is coming from, so I know.
What is the formula of your success?
Say it again.
What is the formula of your success?
Oh. Well, I think, you know, like a lot of entrepreneurs, part of it is that I'm too stupid to stop doing something when it's not working, and I just keep pushing forward. I mean, okay, it's not a formula, but I think the thing that I've been good at in my life, probably the best thing I've been good at in business, is that I'm able to see into the future. I'm not stuck in where things are today, but I can kind of see where they're going tomorrow, and I know how to position myself. And I guess that's kind of what I did when I came to Armenia, you know. I mean, I remember one of the better things I did in business is in about 1997 here, when everybody was running out of the country, I was buying real estate with all the money I could come up with because I just saw it was a temporary problem and the future was really bright. So, but yeah, that's probably my best thing. It's not a formula though, unfortunately. Yeah.
Could you describe yourself when you were a teenager? Just a brief sketch of yourself?
Yeah, that's painful. You guys all look much healthier than I was as a teenager. I mean, insecure, looking for reinforcement all the time, totally oriented on who my friends were and whether they were cool enough or not. Always just like, I mean, I was always worrying about what just happened with somebody or what was going to happen with somebody tomorrow. It's embarrassing to talk about. I mean, I don't know if this is normal teenager behavior, but like, I just remember, oh, it is? Oh, okay. Yeah, and like completely shallow. I mean, you know, I think there was always a good person inside of me, but I think, like, I'm sure at that time I was totally insensitive to like helping anybody that needed help if it wasn't going to reflect well on me as a cool guy. I mean, yeah, oh, this is terrible. I hate to think about it. Yeah. But I think to the extent that's true of everybody, I think you tend to grow out of it, so don't let it get you down. I grew out of it. Tough question. Oof.
I'm sorry. Is there, I'm here. Is there a book that had a large impact on you?
Well, I have to say first the Bible. Then after that, probably a lot. I mean, I remember like there's an American English book called Catcher in the Rye, and like I read it when I was maybe in 10th grade or something, and it was the first time I started to get this feeling that like I wasn't the only one that was locked in this shell, that other people were sharing the same experiences. And somehow that was like a really big deal for me. It really comforted me and made me feel, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it was just like really opened my eyes that humans, we have things in common and we're sharing, and yeah, I didn't have to be so worried about the condition I was in at that point.
Thank you.
Dear participants, please ask the last question as there is no time more.
What do you think about standardized tests and particularly SAT?
Oh, this is a big issue. Well, I guess you guys are all good test takers, right? That's why you're here. Yeah, it's hard to say because, I mean, for sure they have their use, and for sure, you know, I mean, I've gone through my life in college and law school, and after seeing people who were good test takers and seeing what they were good at and what they weren't good at, and for sure, good test takers have gigantic holes within themselves in terms of being people, in terms of their effectiveness at getting anything done in life. I mean, so you start to understand that the test taking really does measure kind of a real narrow set of skills. So that's a big thing I can say from a life of experience. Yeah, but they are useful. I mean, they do measure some stuff, and some of that stuff is useful in, you know, predicting how well you can do bookwork and everything. Yeah, but it's, you know, it's also funny. Like maybe you'll have this experience. Well, you don't have any dumb kids here, but like I know me and other friends of mine, you know, we go through life kind of looking at people, maybe an employee or somebody we meet, and trying to picture which guy that was in school when we were in school, and kind of always wondering, where did the really dumb kids go in life, you know, and am I running into them? But I also remember that there was a bunch of the guys that were considered dumb because they weren't good in school, and they ended up being very successful because they knew how to deal with life. And it's really important. I mean, there's just lots of different ways to get by in life that don't have to do with tests or even with standardized tests or even with school. So, I mean, life is really tests you in lots more ways than that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
The time of questions has expired. Dear guests, please choose the author of the best question for your point of view. The author of the best question is given a badge and the right to ask the first question to the next guest of the project.
Do I have to do something? I didn't understand what you said.
You have to choose the author of the best questions of the project. Which one you like?
The honor of the best question. Wow. Can I report back next week? I want to think about this. I mean, I have to say, like, I've been interviewed for a lot of magazines and other things before, and I almost stopped doing those interviews because the questions are so stupid. And I didn't get one stupid question here today. I mean, these were really hard, good questions, you know? And I mean, if somebody was going to write the story of my life, if they heard your questions and the answers, they'd get a really good view of it. I mean, that was unbelievable on your part. So, yeah,
Just choose the one that you like more.
well, I'll just, the one that comes to mind is...
Or that you remember.
Yeah, asking me about being a teenager and what it was like. Nobody's ever asked me that before, and it's really a deep question, so I'll give that one. Was that you? Yeah, okay. But really, all the questions were great. I'm really impressed. Thank you. Yeah.
Dear audience, please grade the sincerity of our guest in the blackboard. Blue magnets mean that the guest was honest enough. The pink ones mean that he wasn't. Each of you can use only one magnet. According to the feedback of audience, you were honest enough. Congratulations. Now, please share your opinion, impressions, and finalize our meeting.
Impressions of what?
Yeah, our meeting.
Of our meeting?
Yes.
Well, I just said, I mean, it was the best grilling of questions I've ever had. I mean, I really am sweating. I mean, this was hard work for me. And you guys really asked deep questions and good questions. I mean, I hope the answers had some kind of meaning for you too. And so, yeah. No, this was a pleasure. I was going to tell you, like, I came to IPE school last week for a visit. I had two great guides. One of them is here. And I was thinking about it after I left, and I realized that, like, from the minute that I walked into the school until after I left the grounds, I was smiling. And it's like, this place just makes me happy. So I thank you all for that.
Thank you for coming. It was a great pleasure having you as our guest. Hope to see you again. Thank you.